Right guys, we have new iPad 10 cases in physical stores in the US, pointing towards a release happening very soon, so of course, let's delve into it. So of course, Gurman earlier in the week did tell us we should see M2 iPad Pros drop within a few days. I was actually predicting the press release would be out today, but of course, we did not see anything. However, Gurman did say within a few days, and so Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday could be possible days we see a press release. However, there has been some confusion regarding the iPad 10's release because Gurman in that report about the iPad Pros did talk about the other October announcements and kind of vaguely said that we should see the iPad 10 soon, but of course did not specify a time frame. And so many were speculating that maybe we saw this iPad launch with the Macs in November, but personally I think it makes sense to release this with the iPad Pros because we know the iPad Pro is going to be a boring refresh, and so to counteract that, giving us this more exciting budget iPad refresh would make sense. And yeah, that brings us to this new report where someone has spotted iPad 10 cases in actual physical stores at Target. And usually that means a product's about to launch, and so now I'm pretty sure that we're going to see the budget iPad launch with the new iPad Pros. So yeah, that should mean we're going to see the budget iPad refresh in just a few days, and that's pretty exciting news. Now as for the case itself, it does reaffirm a few things that of course we've heard for weeks. The shape of the case does suggest flat sides, and we have a cutout for Pencil 2 support. Also, we should see Type-C on this, and also it seems this iPad's gonna get the dual stereo speakers the iPad Air 5 has. There is also seemingly a pretty large cutout on the sides that could be for the Touch ID power button, but to be honest, I still think we're gonna see the home button on the front, and considering the concept images for the case do not show the front of the iPad, I think these case manufacturers have no idea how this iPad's going to look on the front, and so in my opinion this won't be like the other iPads with a full screen design, but instead a hybrid design of sorts with an iPad 9 front but with the flat sides of the other iPads. Basically what MySmartPrice suggested, and considering the Apple Watch Ultra CADs were basically spot on, I do think the iPad 10 CADs are also going to be right. And yeah, ultimately Apple wants to upsell you to the higher end iPads, and so visually making this iPad look worse is the better move. Since right now the exclusive M1 features are not good enough to justify getting the other iPads, you need visual differences, and so yeah, MySmartPrice and their CADs do make sense. Also, one more tidbit for you guys, but iPad 10 cases should be shipping out sometime next week, so again that does suggest the announcement should be this week with the iPad Pros. Anyways, let's delve into your questions. So Joe says, I don't see the Magic Keyboard being supported with the budget iPad since it's going to look goofy, and also the price of the Magic Keyboard is basically as much as the iPad itself, and so that makes zero sense. And yeah, pricing is a fair point because I doubt that many on a budget are going to be willing to pay $300 for the keyboards, but personally my theory is the existing Magic Keyboards are going to go down in price, and Apple instead is going to give us a Magic Keyboard Pro that of course is going to fill the current price points and give us more features for the iPad Pro consumers. And why I think this is because we're seeing MagSafe with the iPad Pros, and there's rumours about the Smart Connector being scrapped, and so I think it's likely the iPad Pros get new Magic Keyboards with MagSafe support, but the 11-inch existing Magic Keyboard stays in the lineup at a lower price. That of course is for the iPad Air 5 and this new budget iPad. Since I do very much doubt that Apple's going to give us a completely new keyboard they made for the budget iPads, they usually recycle older keyboards from other iPads, and so if MySmartPrice is right about the design, then yes, I do see this budget iPad getting Magic Keyboard support, but the keyboard should have a lower price. So Evan Rogers says it's shocking if Apple does not update the OG iPads annually going forward. And yes, I'm pretty sure that Apple is going to continue giving us annual updates with this iPad because it is their most popular iPad, and so constantly refreshing this with new features is important. And yes, I know the iPad 10 was supposed to release at the September event like they usually do, but of course there's been iPad supply issues, and with a redesign I'm sure it's tougher to produce, and so this year's the exception, not the rule, so do expect the iPad 11 to release in September 2023. So Dickai says, will the 10th gen iPads have a refresh rate of 120Hz? And no, I don't think the base iPad is getting 120Hz anytime soon, because of course the iPad mini and the iPad Air, which are more expensive iPads, are still stuck at 120Hz, and so it seems 120Hz is going to remain as an exclusive for the iPad Pros. So Nabila says, will the iPad 10 be better than the iPad Air 4? And no, I don't think that's going to be the case, because even if we do get the best case scenario, which of course is a complete iPad Pro like redesign, I'm sure there's still going to be thicker bezels on the front to differentiate this iPad. Since Apple did actually do that with the iPad Air 4, that had thicker bezels than the 11-inch iPad Pro, so of course further thickening the bezels on the base iPads makes a lot of sense. Also, another best case scenario would of course be a panel that's laminated, but do remember there would still be other cons with this iPad, like the lack of P3 support or higher brightness. So yeah, if you do find a good deal on the iPad Air 4, I do recommend getting that, but of course I'm pretty sure that once the iPad 10 does launch, those deals on the iPad Air 4 are slowly going to die down. Really, this iPad makes the most sense for those walking into a store, paying retail, and of course wanting the cheapest iPad. But like is the case with the iPhone SE, I'm sure you could find better value iPads for the same price from third parties. So Opus Digital Audio says there are too many iPad offerings, and I don't personally agree with that, because I feel like the iPad lineup is quite distinct and caters to different markets, and really the only models that overlap are the iPad Pro 11-inch and the iPad Air 5. And so maybe in the future Apple can give us bigger sizes for the iPad Pro, but apart from that, I feel like each iPad does serve its purpose. So V says a panel that's laminated and Apple Pencil 2 support would be a sure buy for me, and yes, I completely agree with this, especially regarding a laminated panel, because that is the biggest issue with the iPad, and so I'm really praying Apple fixes this. Saren says, I'm on a low budget. Is the iPad Air 3rd gen with the pencil still good in 2022? And yes, I think it's a pretty solid purchase. Obviously, do remember you do get a better chip and center stage support with the iPad 9 that of course is going to come down in price once the iPad 10 arrives. But if you don't care about that, and you just want a panel that's laminated and want pretty good performance, then yeah, definitely do get it. I mean, I still have a 10.5-inch iPad Pro, and that is perfectly fine for my use, and so if you do find the iPad Air 3 for a good price, definitely do get it. Anyways, that's about it, guys. Hopefully we see the official release soon, but of course, till then, tell me your thoughts in the comments. Anyways, thank you for watching, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe for the latest Apple news and rumours. Check out the link above on details regarding the iPhone 15 series. And on that note, see ya peeps.